The toxins in our food and environment can negatively impact our mental health. Welcome back to another episode of the Mental Health Break. Today's episode features Deepa Deshmukh, who will speak to us about limiting our exposure to environmental toxins in order to improve our mental and physical health. Hi, I'm Dr. Nafisa Sekandari, a licensed clinical psychologist specializing in anxiety-based disorders. I created the Mental Health Break podcast to give you simple, actionable, step-by-step strategies to help you prioritize your mental health. Mental illness can cost you time and money. Ignoring your symptoms will only make the problems worse. Taking time out of your busy day to dedicate to improving your mental health can lead to long-term health and wellness. In this podcast, each week you'll learn tips, tricks, and proven strategies to help you regain control of your life, all while prioritizing your mental health. If you want to improve your life, regain control of your mental health, and feel empowered, you're in the right place. Let's get started. Today's episode is brought to you by the Transforming Anxiety course, an online, self-paced anxiety course to help you manage and control your anxiety from the comfort, privacy, and convenience of your own home. Learn how to transform your anxiety in just 6 short weeks. Course registration is now open. To learn more, visit transforminganxiety.com/course. I'm excited to talk to Deepa today about the impact of environmental toxins on our gut and overall well-being. Let me introduce Deepa briefly before I bring her on. Deepa Deshmukh is a dietitian practicing functional and culinary nutrition. When treating people, she focuses on identifying factors that are contributing to their health issues, identifying the underlying nutritional deficiencies, and comes up with a sustaining plan. She specializes in treating chronic diseases such as digestive health, diabetes, heart disease, and autoimmune conditions. Deepa focuses on issues related to health, wellness, nutrition, knowledge empowerment, planet health, and anything in between that affects people and their behavior. Hi, Deepa. Thank you for joining us and having this conversation today. I just briefly shared some information about you. So can you please tell us about what got you interested in culinary nutrition and then what your background and training is?
First of all, thank you for having me, Dr. Nafisa, and all of your troop there. What it's a very funny story that you get trained with a clinical background, and we pay so much emphasis on really understanding the clinical side of practicing. I had studied food science and nutrition from India, but then I went back to school here to get another degree in nutrition and then public health, and I decided to do my board certification in advanced diabetes management. Everything was very clinically heavy. We took a lot of nutrition classes. There wasn't a class on culinary nutrition. It's only when I started practicing, I started noticing that people feel better when they eat right food at the right time, in a right format, with right attitude. And that was the beginning of my way into starting to practice or really using food as medicine. And that was in 2007, 2008. So that's how I really, in nutshell, I got into it just by observation.
I love the concept of food as medicine. And it's so true that we can use food to heal ourselves and heal our gut. We're talking about the importance of gut health today. But also my concern lately has been on the environmental toxins that are impacting our gut, the pollutants that damage our gut and our microbiome. Can you speak to these dangers and how we can, and the impact that they're having on our gut functioning?
Absolutely. I mean, the whole concept of paying attention your gut or listening to your gut feeling is not new. Approximately 2000 years ago, Hippocrates, the founder of modern medicine, said all diseases begin in the gut. So that's it. There we have it. It was established 2000 years ago that we need to start paying attention to our gut if we want to take care of our overall health. However, as you know and I know, we have ignored that advice for a long period of time, and we continue to ignore it to some extent. Personally, I feel that when I started talking about gut health in 2007 and prebiotic and probiotic, I don't think even my fellow medical professional practitioners were paying any attention to it. But it just in last 5 6 years, this subject has come to a surface because of the continuous increase in the incidences of chronic disease conditions, and we are talking about increase in chronic disease conditions, not only physical but mental health as well. And that's when the movement has started. Hey, maybe we need to pay attention to our gut more than we have been. So you are right that over these years, our diet, our environment has become very toxic. Something as simple as drinking something hot from the plastic, or microwaving your food in plastic, or storing hot food in the plastic, or artificial colors and flavors, and dough conditioners that is used in simple food like bread and cereal that people eat on a daily basis, and sometimes multiple times a day, has really uh, created an environment where everything that we eat and the packaging and everything just adds more toxins to our system. At the same On the same token, what I'm also noticing is people tend to fix the symptoms first without fixing the root cause, and that needs to change. So removing toxins remains to be the first step if you're trying to take care of your gut.
Okay, so the environmental toxins definitely cause ultimately impact our gut and then create mental and physical health illnesses. So you were mentioning reducing the toxic load. So what are some ways that we can reduce our load and then heal our gut? And can we really properly clean our foods from the pesticides and herbicides? And if you have any suggestions in that area as well.
So first of all, we have to be very mindful about what we are eating, and removing the highly processed food from your diet. There is processed food and there is ultra processed food, right? So removing both of them. If your diet is very high in ultra processed food, such as like Pop Tarts, or any kind of fast food, uh, or it's high in processed food like simple things like cookies, or white bread and cereals and stuff like that, it's considered processed food. And all these meat analogs which are being out there are quite processed. So removing these things, as well as looking at your everyday food and seeing, does your garbage can has more boxes, or it has more compostable garbage. Your garbage can speaks a lot about your eating habits. If you are seeing a lot of boxes from the boxed foods, then or if you are seeing a lot of wrappers or a lot of plastic bottles, then that your diet is pretty high in not so clean foods. So start becoming mindful about what you're eating is the number one strategy.
Besides just being mindful, what else can we do to reduce that load? Like you said, if we're eating a lot of processed foods, that definitely says something. But we're also putting toxins on our body. We're inhaling it in our air with those air fresheners. We're using nonstick pots and pans that are contributing to the damage. We're, like you said, heating food in the microwave in plastics, or even we're just microwaving our foods. Those are all a lot of things. And I know that can sound like doom and gloom. And for a lot of people, this is very convenient. But what is a realistic level that that's doable for us to do?
As we start paying more attention to our food, people hopefully will start choosing less processed food, right? And the one nutrient that will help remove these toxins from your body is fiber, because fiber is our garbage man. Fiber binds to the toxics, fiber binds to the anything that is in excess, and helps remove it from our system. So number one strategy, as as I mentioned, is to paying more attention and stop using the non-stick and the plastic and processed food, but at the same time start healing your gut so that you are going to improve, so that your gut is going to start functioning to get rid of this stuff. And then excess toxins are removed by nothing else but fiber. So liver detox, and all these detox diets or protocols which are out there should emphasize on making sure that you are eating right kind of fiber, right amount of fiber. But again, this strategy doesn't work when people have acute GI distress or IBS. Then eating very high fiber food actually backfires on them. So the first step then is to remove toxins and stop using. So realistically speaking, there are a lot of things we can do. For example, you can start using frozen vegetable, fresh vegetables instead of canned vegetables. You can start making your own tea or coffee. A lot of people end up buying tea or coffee outside. You can start fixing a bowl of oatmeal, which is with some flax seeds and some blueberries, and constantly figuring it out or focusing on nourishing yourself is the way to start healing your gut.
So you did mention something about toxins or detoxing with fiber, but what are your thoughts about cleansing and detoxing for better mental and physical health? What are your thoughts and opinions about that?
Okay, so first of all, it's very important for our listeners to know that the gut is connected to our brain, and 90% of the information flows from the gut to the brain. We feel it in our gut first, and then our brain feels it. So again, what you are eating, what you are feeling in your gut, or how you are fueling your gut is going to affect your mental health and brain health. Talking about cleansing and detoxing, doing it gradually. People go on this 10-day detox with some powders and heavy nutrient load. Works for some people, but not with those who have acute GI issues. If you have gas, bloating, acid reflux, then that indicates that you first need to fix your basic food habits and then get into the detoxing, because detoxing is going to be drastic. And if you don't have, and then when you come off of the detox, if you are not paying attention, or if you haven't figured out how to fix your everyday eating habits or your daily meals, then the detox is going to have a very short temporary effect on your health. So before you get into detox, the first thing is to make sure that you are focusing on removing toxins on your own and replenishing with just simple food, nothing fancy. If we just eat clean, unprocessed foods every day, that's like a everyday detox.
Right. So eating more vegetables, eating more fiber, and allowing your body to do the cleansing.
Legumes, seeds, herbs, and spices, that's it. These are your detoxing agents.
Right.
Nature has given us all that stuff.
Well, unfortunately, things change so much, and we keep hearing so many different ways to do things that it can be very confusing for the average consumer on what to do. And this is why we're having this conversation, just to give people some ideas that they can implement today. Obviously, nobody's saying that you should do all these changes at once. Pick one thing, like maybe get rid of all of your nonstick pans and buy stainless steel, or get rid of all your plastic Tupperware and get more glass containers. I got rid of my microwave. I don't even use it for anything. The only thing I was using it before was for cleaning my sponges, but I thought it wasn't worth it to have all those electromagnetic energy just coming into the house. So completely got rid of my microwave and reduced my consumption of plastics and wrappings and all of that. But it's one step at a time, right? Making one small change.
That's why I said, even if you start by replacing your breakfast with sprouted grain bread with avocado on top, or sprouted grain bread with almond butter or sunflower seed butter with some blueberries on top, or a bowl of nice warm porridge with oatmeal and some millet, or just oatmeal, steel cut oats. If even if you start eating a bowl of steel cut oats with some flax seeds on top, that's it. You just gave your body a good first flush, really. Last week I told one of my patient, I said, just change one thing. I said, go to the grocery store and pick up some red cabbage. I said, just one thing, because she's like, oh, I don't know where to start. Vegetables are expensive. I said, cabbage is 39 39 cents per pound. It lasts forever. Just buy one and start. And I gave her a couple of recipes to do the cabbage, to cook the cabbage salad and some stir fry. And just by eating 1 to 2 bowls of cabbage every day, she lost 5 pounds. Nothing else changed. And water, and of course, water is another big detoxer, right?
Right.
I mean, for anxiety, depression, how important hydration is. So water and just one vegetable, one boost of something with fiber is our detox.
If we can make a commit to one change a week, right? Or even maybe one change a day and just
Yeah.
adding one extra vegetable or making one little small change, reducing your carbon footprint. But I wanted to now get into like recently there's been a lot of talk about the farmer strike in India and how it's related to the negative farming practices that are being imposed worldwide. And so you specialize in culinary nutrition. How can we make sure that the food that we're eating is natural and not tampered with and genetically modified?
First, we all should visit the Environmental Working Group's website as many times as we can and learn about GMO and what's happening. It's called ewg.org, and they have a list of clean 15 and dirty dozen list, which tells us what are some of the clean 15 foods that we should consume, which can be non-organic, and then it lists 12 or 14 different dirty produce or fruits and vegetables that we must try to buy organic. So that's number one, is to educate ourselves that what GMO is, where it's coming from, because it also lists different brands which use GMO ingredients. So visiting Environmental Working Group's website, that is a phenomenal resource to go to for this. Secondly, what I have learned, or what I have been doing personally, is I have been involved in the community garden every spring, summer through the fall. And at that garden, we know exactly who is planting, because we are the ones who are planting. We know where the seeds are coming from, and you are growing your food. Everything gets composted. So we don't use, these gardens don't use any herbicide, pesticides. We use compost to fertilize the produce. So that's all. We have to get involved. We have to get involved in the growing of our vegetables whenever we can, and community gardens make it easy for us. I mean, of course, we can have our own garden in the backyard, but if you just want, due to the time restrictions, community gardens offer a really good alternate or option. So I would recommend people to look for the community gardens, work with the farmers. Through in the summertime, pretty much every town nowadays has a farmers market. Talking to the farmer, understanding them, these are all the things you can do to understand what you are eating and how it is grown, so on and so forth. It is almost impossible, though, to find something which is really organic, or doesn't have any pesticides and herbicides, because of industrial farming, right? The residue flows over to the
Organic farms.
organic farms, and that's the whole thing. And that makes it very difficult. And plus, our soil is depleted. So we have to be very mindful about the amount of plastic, because when we consume less plastic, we are also creating less waste and garbage. Because as bad as the food insecurity is, 40% of our food waste is also high. So it's really sad to see that we have food insecurity, at the same time food waste.
I think that the reason I'm so alarmed by the farmers' strike in India, and God bless them for taking a stand and wanting to not allow the food industries to take over, because, like you said, right now we do have organic farms, and there are people that are wanting to do the right thing. But as these big corporations start buying the land and start depleting the soil, because the whole concept is whoever controls the food controls the population, right? And so we as people need to educate ourselves and make sure that we are either involved in a community garden or involved in growing our own vegetable garden, collecting our own seeds, because all of this can change in the future. I mean, if there's food insecurity now, I feel like it'll be more so moving forward. And in terms of mental health, they're predicting that there will be a pandemic of mental illness moving forward. And that's related to the COVID pandemic, but also it's because we're not eating the right food. We are exposed to pollutants. We are exposed to toxins. And this is why I wanted to have this conversation when it comes to our gut. It is such a vulnerable and fragile biome. And when it is messed up, and you said 90% of our neurochemicals, the feel good chemicals that make us feel good and makes us focus and pay attention, is in our gut. And
Correct.
if our
I
gut
mean,
is sick,
our gut has so many neurotransmitters, more
right?
than the brain. So we know that is a important organ. And the other thing is our microbiome literally starts from what? Nose, mouth, all the way down. So it's
Yeah.
not like heart. It's not isolated. It's pretty much all over. And that's
It's
what makes it tricky, but that's what makes it also important. Because once you take care of your gut, lot of other organs start functioning well. That's the beauty of it.
right. And if our bacteria is not healthy and well, they can't do their job of releasing those feel good chemicals. And so that's why I really wanted to go to the root of the issue of anxiety and depression and attention issues and sleep disorders. And so definitely that conversation is important.
And then the other thing is medications, right? How medications affect our gut. The same medications we take for anxiety, depression backfire on us when it comes to their clearance through the liver, and they of course go through your gut. So that's an issue. I always tell people that food can be medicine, but medicine cannot be food.
Right. That's a good
So
point.
so be aware of that people say, oh my god, do you think eating flaxseed is going to help me with something? It sounds silly. I said, no, food is medicine. I think if I look at your pill box, and if there are 15 different pills you are taking, and when it comes to your salad and you just have only lettuce and few carrots and ranch dressing on it, look what you are feeding yourself with, and understand that you are eating medicine as your food, but that is not really helping you in any ways.
Very good point. Yes. And so the fiber that we're eating, that's actually feeding our gut bacteria, and it helps them as well. And they become healthy and strong. So let food be thy medicine, and then medicine cannot be your food, but that food can be, healing you and helping you. And I like that medicine be thy food, because it's basically saying your food basically is your medicine, not pills, not synthetic ingredients.
Not synthetic ingredients, no. And then people also go for supplements, right? Including probiotic supplements. Yeah, we feel that, oh, if this small amount is good, the large quantity must be better, or is going to give us, it's a magic pill. But that's another area where people go wrong, that they start taking supplements without addressing the root cause, without removing the toxins. The first step of you take mental disease, physical disease, uh, any condition gets better only if you take the first step, which is removing toxins. That's like, you first have to stop the inflow of all the bad stuff that you're putting in, that is making you sick. Otherwise you will never win that battle. So removing toxins remain the first step. So before you go and run for more probiotic supplements, please don't do that. remove the toxins. Because even with the probiotic, what happens is probiotic doesn't work at its full potential if we are not feeding those bacteria their 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 food, which is prebiotic. And
Well, if
guess
the
what?
environment is damaged, right?
Their environment is damaged. The probiotic that you are taking is just going to die because they don't have the right kind of food. They're going to die of starvation. So the probiotic, in order for your probiotics to function well, you have to take the prebiotic fiber. Just like us, our probiotic bacteria also have their own diets, and we need to pay attention to that. And prebiotic comes from what? Legumes, beans, lentils, onion, garlic, all kinds of, and again, fiber. Our ancestors ate 120 to 25 grams of fiber. Americans barely get 20 grams or 25.
Wow.
Average American gets 15 grams. So we are 110 grams short.
Wow. Wow, that makes a lot of sense. So, as a culinary nutritionist, do you have any yummy recipes you'd like to share with us?
My best part of the podcast. So I have to practice what I preach, right? And people are always asking for recipes, recipes, recipes. And one nutrient which is plays very important role in healing your gut lining, which is the lining of your digestive system, is vitamin A or beta carotene. And vegetables like butternut squash and pumpkin or sweet potatoes are very high in beta carotene. So I thought that how about I give you guys a flourless sweet potato brownie recipe. And it's a very simple recipe. Of course, we will share a link for the actual PDF in the links for the podcast. But just if you can't wait until then, it's just if you take a couple of sweet potatoes. I like to bake. I like to boil the sweet potatoes along with their skin, because again, skin has the fiber. So hang on to it. It's basically has sweet potatoes, raw cacao, couple like 3-4 tablespoons of nut butter, a little bit of maple syrup, pie spice, and some plant-based vegan chocolate chips in it. And you are just going to melt the nut butter with some maple syrup, and then combine everything else with mashed up sweet potatoes, and bake it in the oven at 350 for 20 to 25 minutes, and there you have it. You have your flourless sweet potato brownies. It's as simple as that, and a small mindful bite of that is going to make a big difference when you are in the process of healing your gut or reviving your gut health.
Yeah, I love sweet potato. I love sweet potato fries. I love, and I'm going to definitely try your sweet potato brownie recipe. That sounds really yummy.
Yeah, and it's easy. It's all about uh, making something easy, convenient, and something tasty. So just have open mind and try different things, and try things slowly and one step at a time. Move it forward, and it will be amazing to see how simple steps lead to big rewards, especially when it comes to anxiety and depression and cravings and emotional eating that happens because of anxiety and depression.
I know sugar is the big enemy right now. So, what are your thoughts about alternative sugars? And you said maple syrup. So, what are some things that we can use as alternative to cane sugar?
So I think unpasteurized local honey would be a good one. Of course, vegan. I'm whole food plant based, not a vegan per se. So, but some vegan people may not be able to prefer honey, but you can do maple syrup. You can do agave. One sweetener that has always been overlooked, which is molasses. And molasses is this thick, gooey, has very intense flavor. And all you need is just 1/4 of a teaspoon or half a teaspoon, but it gives you that caramel type of flavor and color. And very recently, I have started reusing it. I used to use it, and then I forgot all about it. So I started reusing molasses. So molasses is something that you guys might want to try, because it also has iron and calcium, and supposed to help grow hair. So Who knows? Uh, that's an added advantage. So so these natural syrups that we get from the nature, unpasteurized, of course, unsulfured, and all that stuff. In fact, sometimes just dissolving a dry fruit, for example, making your own date puree or fig puree, also makes it a good sweetener.
I was going to mention dates. I love dates for
Mm.
their fiber, and they taste like little caramels. And the good thing is they're so full of fiber that they are good for even some diabetics to eat in moderation, right?
Absolutely. Same thing with prunes, or they are now called as plums, dry plums. I mean, has amazing health benefits. Dry prunes have shown to have some bone protective properties. So if you're plant based and worried about your bone or calcium, then prunes are going to be good. And again, for digestive health, if people have a lot of constipation or difficulty having a good bowel movement, prunes might help. Or but again, you don't want to get the prune juice, you don't want to get the prunes in syrup, those type of things. Try to keep it simple, try to keep it real.
Yeah, this is why our grandparents have always had prunes, right, in their in their cabinets. So, knowing what you know now, what advice would you have for your younger self?
Oh, that's an interesting one. No, you know what? I personally feel that I'm so glad that I stuck to my core message all along. I did not jump ship from one diet trend to the other, and I kept doing what I thought that I believed in and I thought was working for my clients, really without thinking about, oh, what's the financial benefit of it. I definitely wouldn't change anything. Ideally, what I would like to do is to maybe have a little garden in my backyard, or have a sunroom with some herbs and spices and things like that growing in the sunroom, like a small little greenhouse during the winter. So I wish I could spend more time in the garden apart from the community garden that I'm involved in.
Well, those are all things that we can all take baby steps towards, right? That could be a goal that we all have. So, where can people find you and connect with you? Are you on social media? Do you have a website? Where can people
Yeah,
find
people can find me on Facebook. Nutritionist Deepa is my Facebook page, and same thing for Instagram and TikTok. My website is nutritionistdeepa.com as well. If they want to see me as a clinician or want me to look at their case from a dietitian point of view, then my website is dupagedietitians.com. And and my podcast is Ask Nutritionist Deepa, where I answer common questions that I get from my patients or from my listeners. So if any one of you have a question, please send it to me and I will answer it on my podcast.
Wonderful. And I'll make sure to share all of your links in the show notes. So for people that want to follow you and reach out to you, they'll have that in the show notes. So thank you so much for being here and having this discussion with me today.
No, thank you so much, Dr. Nafisa. It was my pleasure, and I hope your listeners and my listeners will benefit from it and will make that connection of mind and gut and get their act together.
Definitely. Thank you. So there you have it. Deepa shared some great advice on ways to reduce the toxins in your life. As always, the information shared here is for educational purposes only. Please be sure to consult your medical professional before starting any new supplements or dietary regimens. To learn more about Deepa, please visit transforminganxiety.com/24. While you're there, be sure to download her delicious sweet potato brownie recipe. If you're enjoying the Mental Health Break podcast, please don't forget to subscribe so you'll always know when there's a new episode. If you're listening on Apple Podcast, be sure to give us a review or a 5-star rating, since that'll help other people find the podcast. I can't wait to see you here next week. Same time, same place. Bye for now.